Hi, good morning guys, thanks for joining me. Welcome to the noisiest woodland in the world, and before we get on and start the video, I'd just like to apologise for the fact that it is quite noisy down here. The car's in the garage at the moment, so I'm having a job to get any further. So what I thought we'd do is a couple of things. One of those, I want to collect a little bit of clay from over what we refer to as the marl hole. It's a massive big clay hole, it's around about 50-60 years. People have been digging clay for that long underneath there. The idea behind it basically is just so I can make a few primitive cups and pots and that kind of thing whilst I'm in the house this week. Just to keep myself occupied really. But I thought to put the video on. I'm just going to make myself a drink and also cook a little bit of food. I've had a few interesting comments on the video which I did regarding the bush box and also that cheap little Chinese stove. A few comments basically saying, you know, why don't you stack the fuel vertical instead of just popping it through that little feeding port. A lot of people saying it burns a lot more efficiently, it burns a lot longer, and it also burns a lot hotter. You know, there was one guy which said, you know, you could boil your water and cook your food from just one little stack. So that's something which we're going to look at today. You know, is it worth it? Isn't it worth it? You know, I'm one of them kind of people, when I get the little fire going, I don't mind feeding it. But if it says I can do it and I can walk away, you know, just let the food cook and the water boil, then it's going to make my job a little bit easier because you can just be carrying on with something else while that's happening. So as you can see, we've cut the fuel down which we're going to be using. I may just split it down just a little bit further, but one thing which I've got to do is get the height right. There's not much point in having all this sticking out to the top of the stove. I'm not going to be able to put anything on top. And I suppose that's one of the reasons why I haven't done it in the past. You know, this is not a new way which I've been told, but it's something which you haven't done purely for the fact, like I say, when that fire's burning, I don't mind feeding it into the stove. But we're going to do like the people have suggested. We're going to cut it down so it does fit in the stove. We're then going to build a little fire on top, pretty much just like an upside down fire. Then hopefully it's going to find its way, burn down to the bottom, and this is going to get going. Okay, so that didn't take too long. It took around about 5 minutes just to cut them down. I just held the wood at around about a 45-degree angle and just took the axe straight through it. So traditionally when I do use these little twig stoves, I usually just get the fire just lit in the centre, just using birch bark, something like that. And then I've always used them just by making a little fire, just by feeding them through the port like so. So like these other comments have been saying, is why don't we stack the wood vertically? So we're going to just stack it all inside nice and neatly. I don't want too much of this wood obviously poking out to the top, and also I'm not going to be able to get anything to sit on top there. And once we've actually got it all inside and we're happy with it, like we say, we're just going to make a little fire on top, just like an upside down fire. And then this wood's going to burn from the top, burn its way down, and hopefully it's going to last long enough so I can make a cup of tea and also just make a little bit of rice. And just whilst I'm placing them in the stove, if there's any kind of taper to the piece of wood, I'm going to put the thinner part at the top, so that would catch just a little bit easier, and perhaps the fat chunkier section at the bottom. Just making sure that, like I say, they're not sticking out too much. Any of these other ones which are sticking out, I'll just cut down just a little bit prior to putting them back in the stove. See that one there? Just a couple of millimetres too much, but like I say, the cup itself isn't going to be able to sit on there, so I'll just trim that one down just a little bit. And now we've got all the fuel in the little stove there. Like I say, we're just going to make a little fire on top. It's got a little bit of fat wood here. I'm just going to shave down, just make a few little shavings. And also just in a little pouch here, I've got a little bit of birch bark, which we're also going to tuck in there, just to get things going. So just before we get things lit, I just want to make sure that this is sitting straight. This ground itself's quite uneven, but it is quite soft, so you can just stab the little feet just in there if you want to. And that's not going to go anywhere now. So I'm just going to get it lit, a little bit of birch bark with the ferro rod, and hopefully we'll get this going first time. So I've left that burning for probably around about 2 or 3 minutes, and that's certainly got well established now. So we're just going to get a cup of water on, just get a quick drink made, and then hopefully, like the guy was saying, there should be enough left in there just to be able to get a bit of rice cooked. So as you can see, everything's burning now for around about 5 or 6 minutes, and there's no more flames left on that. It has got a bed of coals, there's a little bit of heat coming off it, and this water started smoking, and also there's quite a few bubbles just coming from the bottom here. So this water would be good enough if I just wanted to make a cup of tea. The water itself was clean, I brought this from home, but when it comes to now cooking the rice, I'll probably just have to feed it just in the usual way to do it. So was it worth it, is it not worth it? I don't know, the choice is down to yourself. It's certainly done nothing more for me, than the way that I usually do it, and I've got to start feeding sticks in there just to be able to create enough heat and to be able to get this little bit of food cooked. So as you can see, I got a nice cup of tea out of that, so cheers guys. But unfortunately, this rice is still stone cold. There's nothing left in there now, just a little bit of ash at the bottom. And the burn time with that I'd probably say was around about 8-9 minutes, something like that. So for that comment saying it would boil me water and cook me food, isn't quite true. So I suppose that's the idea about coming out today. I just wanted to try it out myself, see what happened when it comes to cooking this rice now. I'm going to make another little fire just in the bottom of the stove here, and I'm just going to feed it just in the traditional way, just by feeding the wood just through the port itself. And there we have a nice little bit of rice cooked for dinner. in all fairness, that probably took around about 4 minutes. It didn't take very long at all. Probably took half the time than what the water took to boil, but at the end of the day, the rice doesn't need that long anyway. But I think, in my opinion, I'm going to stick with feeding it just through the port there. It just means I don't have to cut that wood down in half any further. You know, if them sticks are a little bit too long, you know, it's quite easy just to push them in there, and as they're burning, just keep feeding them in. You know, it's quite safe. You know, you don't burn yourself. But like I said, in my opinion, it's just a little bit quicker and just a little bit easier when it comes to making the fire and actually getting things started. But like I say, at the end of the day, you know, it's all your own opinion. You know, you can do it how it is that you want to do it. I just thought to come out today, just give it a quick test and just see which way works best for myself. Well guys, that's me feeling a bit better. Bit of food in my belly and a nice cup of tea. We'll just walk through the woodlands now, and then just at the back of the camera are those clay pits. Just going to nip down there for half an hour and just find myself a nice few little pieces. I shot me filming it to a dirty old place, and I don't fancy knackering the camera up. So again, I'd like to apologise if this video is noisy. I should be getting my car back next week, so fingers crossed we'll get down to them quieter woodlands and get a few videos shot over there. You know, this woodland's okay for a bit of fresh air, just a little bit of exercise, but certainly no good for filming videos in. And again, I just hope that video's helped. You know, you guys that are using Twig stoves just like myself, just showing you there the couple of ways which you can stack the wood up. I think, in my opinion, I'm just going to carry on just feeding it through the main port. You know, it's going to save time chopping all that wood down. You know, in the end result, you know, in my opinion, didn't really make that much difference. So like always guys, thanks a lot for you stopping by, and until next time, you take care, and I'll see you again.